Hey, everybody. It is FEM Talk Tuesday, you guys, and we are back for another episode of FEM Talk. If you were here with us last week, you heard us talking about why some Black men don't date Black women. Well, we are flipping that right on its head tonight, and we are talking about why some Black women don't date Black men. And we have a very special guest with us tonight, someone who is near and dear to our heart. And we are going to let her come on and just talk about her experiences in this area. But before we do, you guys, I want to put up this disclaimer for tonight's conversation. So, the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the individual speakers, commentators, guests, experts, and or hosts. They do not explicitly or necessarily reflect nor represent the network, broadcaster channel, and or program's policies of the views held by this network, broadcaster channel, and or program. The network, broadcaster channel, or program cannot be held accountable for all or any views expressed during this program. So that being said, we are honest on this show. We talk about it all. So don't hold that against the network. These are the opinions and experiences of the beautiful ladies that come on this show, and men as well. We have men on the show as well, even though it is called Fem Talk. So you guys, I have something very special for you because I am super excited about this. So let me just show you something really quickly before we bring the ladies in. Tomorrow, everybody, the whole living show is starting. It starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be every Wednesday at that same time. I want you guys to see this. Check this out. Everybody. So the ladies can tell me what they thought about that, but I am super excited about tomorrow's show. And that was done by our very own Mr. Lauren Harris. And he will be my first guest on tomorrow's show. So you guys make sure that you tune in tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So without further ado, I am going to bring these beautiful ladies in and we are going to get into this topic. We have Shima Shishi Talks, and she is back from Africa. So we have to mention that next week we have a special show. We are going to be talking about the Kenya trip. Shima and 3 other ladies that were in Africa with her are going to be sharing their experience, the life-changing trip that they took. So we can't wait to hear that as well. Welcome back.
Hello, fresh off the motherland soil. How you guys doing?
Yes, we've got Brandy Disconnector now. Don't get it confused. She is the Disconnector.
Yes. I'm pulling the plug, man. I'm pulling the plug. You got time for the dysfunction no more.
That's right. And last but certainly not least of the Fem Talk ladies, we have Mimi Melissa Girl Boss Up.
Hello, everyone.
We're going to see out there. We have Catherine Levy. Hey, Cat. Listen, I'm putting that out there. That is my cousin, Cat. Hey, Cat. Our wonderful coach, Mr. Lauren Harris.
Hey, Lauren.
And he is the person responsible for these wonderful show openers that you see. But he is an amazing coach, you guys. And he says, hey, I see you there.
See you.
We have the wonderful Kiki P. Hello, Kiki P. And she says, welcome.
Hey. Thank you, Kiki.
Yes, Mr. Lawrence says hello again, and my beautiful mother there says hello,
Hey,
ladies.
Mama.
So
Hey,
you guys-
Was that Mr. Ramfolf?
So before we get into our topic for tonight, we have our beautiful guest waiting in the green room to get into this subject, but we wanted to talk about a couple of hot topics here. So I'm sure everybody by now has heard that Sidney Poitier has passed away. That was on Friday, he passed away. But do you know that he was the first Black actor to win an Academy Award in a leading role, you guys? So we just want to pay homage to him, give him tributes. It was for Lilies of the Field. So just wanted to give you the movie that he won that for. So what do you ladies have to say about the amazing Sidney Poitier?
Oh gosh, love him. He has
Right.
been one of my icons for forever. One of the first Black leading men I've ever seen. On TV and film. Not even TV and on film.
Mhm.
And I was just talking about. I remember when I was old enough to even want to watch Look Who's Coming to Dinner, and watching him in that role. And I remember when I first saw that, I understood why he was the trailblazer he has been for every Black actor or actress.
Yeah.
He was able to own not just the role, but embody what it was trying to say. I remember how he challenged, the status quo even back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just what revelation he brought to the role, but everything he did. I remember the movie where he slapped the white man, and that was so unheard of,
Yeah.
because even though he was slapped first, and the cop was standing there looking, and just
That
able
was in the heat of the night.
in the heat of the night, and just a trailblazer. Talk about a true trailblazer, and really, I think Denzel Washington said it best. He'll always be running after his coattails, because he really did open up the door for so many, any artist of color. He opened the door for us. So
Yeah.
it was wonderful.
And in that movie, in the heat of the night, he asked for that to happen. He said, realistically, if a Black man gets slapped, he's going to slap the person back.
Right.
So that was a condition of his, to do that
Right.
movie, to be able to slap the man back. So just for him to consider that and say, we need to make this real, it's just monumental to know that he was thinking about and how he paved the way, right, and opened those doors because of the fact that he just asked the question, right? Most Black actors and actresses in that time wouldn't have even asked the question or contested, what they were reading.
Right. I just appreciated how just multifaceted he was. The same energy
Right.
he put into a comedy role is the same energy he put into a dramatic role. That's why I was laughing a little bit ago.
Yeah, everything came out. The taste, the feeling, everything.
Yeah.
Slapped his crooked eye straight. It was amazing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Slap her around the world, and it really
world.
was. He just, I mean, who did that? Who had the audacity? And I think that's what. That was one of the words to me that comes when you hear when you talk about it, when you think about Sidney Poitier, is the audacity. He commanded every role he took with.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say,
It didn't matter if it was a dramatic or comedic. He had the audacity to own the role.
Yeah.
And for me, the other piece of him being of West Indian background, and not changing his name for it. So many people have changed their name to fit the role, so that they didn't want their background, their culture to come out. He didn't, and he went with it and allowed people to question who he was and where he came from. So just one of my
no fear in being judged or being outcast or not given a role or not given a opportunity, because he wouldn't allow himself to be placed in certain roles.
right.
Didn't worry about losing those opportunities because he knew.
Yeah, that's what I found. That's what I
was going to get.
Yeah, that's what I also loved about Cicely Tyson too. There were roles that she would not play.
That's what I was gonna say. They are like polar. They're like the twin. Right? Those mindsets were so similar. She was like, I would not play certain roles. I'm not going to allow you to depict me in certain ways. And he was exactly that way.
When you think about like what we have learned, right, going through Transform Her and living authentically, right? That is the epitome of it. Living authentically and being strong and staying strong and standing firm to who you really are. They are the definitely the examples of that. So you guys, before we get into our topic again, we're going to say, because some of us here loved Full House, and I have even watched Fuller House with my son of late on Netflix, and we lost Bob Saget as well. So just wanted to say, goodbye to Bob Saget as well. And
I always feel like certain people are
just a little piece of my childhood gone. That's all.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important. Exactly. I think it's so important to also mention that, I was just sharing also is that my children grew up on Full House, and it was that and Family Matters. They were that 9:30 slot on Friday nights. Right. It was exciting to watch. And really, it was one of those shows that you just appreciated what they brought forth, that good wholesomeness, and going to be definitely missed.
Absolutely. So, and everybody spoke so fondly of him as well. Just said he was a good person.
Extremely.
I think it was really up to the end. Just enjoyed what he was doing. The fact that the last Instagram post was 2 hours before he died, and hours or minutes after he just got finished performing. He was loving it. He was still loving it, and was looking forward to the next opportunity, and talking about it in that post. And it was just his time.
Absolutely. Crazy. Absolutely.
And I think even to the stars he worked with earlier in his career, and even later, like even what Tiffany Haddish said about him, and how she admired him, and she really respected him, and how he encouraged her and gave her encouragement to really push forward even in her career. So he was just relative. He was relative to from when my children were growing up, even to current. So just to another good person gone is just sad. It's just
sad. And there have been so many of late, right? So just wanted to pay tribute to those two people who just recently passed away. So you guys, before we get into our topic and bring in our amazing guests, we're going to go into another commercial break really quickly, and then we are going to come back and bring in our guest. We're going to introduce her and then bring her in. Here we go. All right, you guys. So listen, if anyone is interested in joining us at the Power of We Symposium, go to powerofwesymposium.com, get your tickets, come on out to Chicago on April 28th. I know Brandy and I will be there, and hopefully we can get Shima and Melissa to join us as well. But we are going to Chicago on that date, so join us. Remember, powerofwesymposium.com. Go get your tickets and let's go. All righty. So we have a special guest in the green room with us today, and we're going to be talking, if you guys are just joining us, we are talking about why some Black women don't date Black men. And look at Brandy's hands. Our very own Brandy. I think we need a label for Brandy, like the bad girl or something. In such a good way.
Well, my nickname by one of my friends given to me is Sour Patch.
Sour Patch.
Sour Patch.
You know the commercial when the Sour Patch candy done mess around, cut the little girl's pigtail off.
They didn't give her
up with
something
his
nice.
scissors behind his head, but his head that's like, oh, it's okay.
Well, that is Brandy. She's telling on herself too.
There you go.
I don't deny it. I don't
She
deny
keeps it real. She keeps it real. Brandy keeps it real for us.
Yes, we have our Aunt Jeanette out there. That is Shima,
Hey, Mom.
mommy.
Hello, lady.
Hello. All right, you guys, we are going to bring in our special guest. We have Anita, also known as Jody Harris. She is our childhood friend and we love her dearly. And she is coming in to talk about this topic tonight. So without further ado, let's bring in Jody.
Hello.
Hey, Jody.
Hello.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining
welcome.
us. Thanks for agreeing to be on this show with us and all of the things that we discuss here. So, listen, again, the topic is why some Black women don't date Black men. So, we're going to get into this, you guys.
Okay.
Oh, let's see. So, I want to start with let's talk about the fact that some Black women mention that Black men are just not interested or seemingly not interested in them. And so they are dating other cultures, races, ethnicities in order to have companionship and love in their life. So what would you say about that, Jody? What do you think about that reason?
It's I mean, I can only speak for myself. I can't. But there are good Black men out there that love Black women. And if you're looking for love and you think that maybe you'll find it in another race, that's fine. But don't just disregard one race because of a few people that maybe didn't want to date you or weren't attracted to you. Like you can't stereotype like every Black man is like that. So, but if that's their reason and that's how they feel, then that's what they're going to do. But just don't disregard that one race because of a few people.
Absolutely. So, do you think though because they're stuck on the stereotype that they're just saying I'm casting off all Black men?
I think so. I think so. I think they figure, well, maybe one or two or however many, they had that bad experience with. They said, just forget it. I'm just going to go on to a different race and maybe I'll find love there.
I think I have to say too that is a recommendation that I hear from a lot of people. Not saying that I'm closed-minded to it, but you do hear that if you're looking for love, and it seems like on the surface, it does seem like our Black men are not in that mindset, right? I guess not ready when we're ready, I'll say. So I've been given that advice. Try to date outside your race, because seemingly people will tell you that outside of our race, other races are ready for marriage and settling down and starting their lives. And they very well may be. Not to say that the Black men are not. It just seems like the ones that we have interacted with are not. And I'm gonna reserve my
well put. Don't hold back. That's so well put.
Okay.
What you gonna reserve it for? What we reserving?
Right. We don't reserve here on FEM Talk.
No,
Go back for what?
I'm just gonna say I love the Black men. I love them.
I like my Black. I love my Black man. I don't know about that.
Well, that's because you have
one. Say that again. Say that again, Shima.
She has one.
That's right.
She loved that Black man she had. And I feel the same way. I mean, I have other thoughts and reasons why I am hesitant to date outside my race. But I also have reasons why I'm not hesitant and why I should. And that's one of them. I do identify with people who say, maybe you should try another race because they're a little more open to the things that you like and the way that you are, you know, the love that you want to give. So
it's true. I think one of the things we have to your point, Chima, there is cultural situations that causes this dynamic to be in existence. And we talked about that last week. You know, unfortunately, we have, if you talk about the Black American man, you know what I'm saying, raised in this country, there are dynamics that we cannot deny, especially if they're coming from the inner city, especially if they're coming from homes that are not traditionally put together with mom and dad in the home. And if mom and dad are in the home, a lot of times mom and dad are working. So a lot of men grew up without that father figure, without that relational situation in front of them. And it causes a lot of things to happen in terms of now their perspective of love and family and all those things going forward.
And did you see that comment? The last part of that comment that my mother made was, "There's a shortage of Black men." So what do you all say about that? Because
why?
There's a disparity.
Well, there's a shortage of women with good sense too, though. let's not skip over that part. Some queens out here right out of their right minds.
You better talk, Sour Patch.
Y'all with it. But I was looking at a post, and I think it was the Facebook group Black Love Matters or something like that. And the dude posted, "This is why y'all always single. Man come home and he gotta wait to eat after the kids. Man should be served first." So they're going back and forth with this. And I'm like, did anybody even ask the man if he was hungry first and foremost? If the man's not hungry, kids eat first. Duh. And if the man and the kids are all hungry, the man chooses, do I eat first? Do the kids eat first?
But you know what you're talking about, Brandy, in my culture, that was not heard of. The man always ate first. And then the women would serve first the men, then the children, then the women would go and eat after.
That's right.
And that was how my culture grew up, to the point where I remember when I bought my husband, which was my boyfriend at the time, and I started eating, all my aunts and tias and you know, godmother, they all looked at me and said, are you great? Did you lose your mind? Was you not trained right? Feed that man. So again, that's cultural. That's what, and I think that's what we're also raising in these two conversations. There are cultural reasons why we're where we are today. And those cultural reasons are impacting what we are seeing come out of situations that have all created this disparity. When you talk about Black men not wanting to date Black women, and now Black women now looking for love in other cultures and in other lifestyles, because they did not get what they're looking for within our own culture.
Right.
So now, do you feel like it's been kind of turned upside down, right? Because the attitude for most Black women now, they don't even think about, and let me not say most Black women, some Black women, because we got on the subject last week about the independent woman, right? And you know, that forcing to be independent or choosing to be, right? But that whole culture, I guess I would say, is turned around because women don't feel like they have to cater to the man or the men in that way. Right.
I understand that, because like even when we have family get-togethers and that things, everybody else might make their own plate and sit down and eat, but I make Mr. Johnson's plate. Whether he eat first or not is no, never mind. I make sure I make his plate though.
Again,
that's something that my grandmother, she doesn't care what, from the oldest man in the house to the youngest boy male child in the house, she will fix their plate. She will make sure that all of the males in the home are going to eat, and she will fix the plate, even if they are not there. She will make sure that they have a plate
and put it aside.
And again, those are the things I think we're competing against. Is this notion that now the Black woman is not going to do that. The independent Black woman is not going to come in a plate.
We don't live in those towns no more, and that's why you can't find a man, because you guys doing this 50-50 stuff, but there's some stuff that you should not be coming to the table 50-50 on.
Yeah, I love it. So let's talk about that, but I want to give Jody a chance to answer, because it sounds like you have something to say.
I was going to say some women feel like that, but some women, want to take care of their man and want to do things for their man. And it doesn't matter what race he is. They just want to take care of their man.
Exactly.
And I think Melissa brought up the song, or maybe our guest last week brought up the song Cater to You by Beyonce, right? And how, it's rare for women to think that way. However, that's how it should be.
It's, and I wanted, one of the things I would say is one of the things I had to learn, and we talked about this when we talked about relationships. I had to learn what submission was about. That's a real word, and that's a word that we have shunned. And I say we, as the you have we have mom Janet on here, we have mom Regina on here, and they the next culture, we've shunned it. Let's be honest, we've shunned that. And because that understanding of submission has been amiss, it is causing a lot of challenge against that need. Because let's be one of the things I had to learn and break it down was that for us, submission is the word, but for a man, submission is respect. And at the core of again, generalizations, at the core of most men is they want respect. And if you ever get in an argument with a man, at the end of the day, it's going to be, did she respect me? She ain't showing me respect. And that is at the core of why the Black woman is known to not embrace this notion of submission, because we're independent. You know what I'm saying?
So let's look at that from a different perspective a little bit too, because does the Black woman feel that the Black man, and I'm talking about those stereotypes again, right, deserves the respect? And maybe that's why they're going outside of the race, the culture, the ethnicity, right? Because of, and I'm talking about stereotypes. I'm not talking about good Black men. I'm not talking about Black men who know who they are. I'm not talking about Black men who are mature and are ready to take care of their families and their wives. I'm talking about
that part.
Right. That part.
Like we got some Black men and some Black women out here that are so sorry. They're literally trying to redefine what it is to be a Black man or a Black woman.
Okay.
But let me say this, and I had to learn that it didn't matter if my husband deserved it or not. I had to submit. I had to learn that if he was mature or not, I had to submit.
Wow.
I didn't learn that.
So his status, his maturity, his status, when we got married, I had to learn from up above that it did not matter. And I wasn't doing it as unto my husband, so to speak, but I was doing it in honor to God, because God put me in the role to be a wife. And if I was going to take on the role of being a wife, it didn't quite matter where he was in his relationship to be a husband. If I wanted to be a wife, I had to learn how to submit. Period. End of story, irrespective of where he was.
Now that's a topic for another night, honestly, when you think about it, because that's a whole different area to get into. It is really good. But I want to go back a little bit, and then we can come back to that, because that's good stuff right there. But I think we need to have
I'm starting stuff. That's what it is.
You're a troublemaker right now, Melissa.
I'm troublemaker. And you know what? And the reason why I said it, because we talked about and one of the attractive, and this is just, you read the stories, one of the attractive races for Black men and white men are Asian women. Because Asian women at their core know how to respect, how to show that submission. That's why I bring it up, because again, when you talk about society and what they're doing to the Black woman, we are not coming off as even having the capability of being submissive.
Well, the Asian, that culture, that's their culture. Like, it's like every Asian woman is submissive. And that's just how they were brought up. That's how their mothers were brought up. Now, for Black women, some of them, not all of them, they're brought up to be strong and to take care of yourself and do for yourself and not worry about yourself, but just, do what you have to do.
Don't depend on a man.
And you don't need a man. So
but your kids do.
Right. Yeah. Right. All right, Sour Patch. So we did bring that up last week, right? But we said that there's a generational gap there, right? Because there was in former generations, not our parents taught us how to be independent because of some of the things that Melissa was talking about, and submitting even when your husband didn't really deserve it. So I think that's probably where it fell off, and you guys can tell me if you agree, but I think that's where things started going in a different direction, because if the man didn't deserve the respect, the women started thinking about becoming those independent women, and more so teaching their daughters how to become those independent women, to not have to depend on the men when the men weren't worthy necessary of the love and respect, because it wasn't reciprocal, right? So we did touch on that a little bit, but I don't want to go too far outside of dating outside your culture, but that Melissa's troublemaker started this whole conversation. But that definitely plays a part in it, and I think that's where things kind of went awry. And then women just decided that, well, I want companionship and I want love. So if I can't get it from my Black men, and this is what I think, and I'm putting up the air quotes, right? Because this is what I'm getting or think from my Black men, doesn't mean it's all Black men. It just means that maybe it's the majority that they were seeing, the women I'm talking about, that started dating outside of their culture. If that's what they were seeing, then they decided to say, okay, I want love. So love has no color, right? So I'm just going to go to, the next culture or the next culture because I want love. So I wanted to go back to something that Shima said, though, because you talked about your hesitancy, right, in dating other cultures and ethnicities. And I wanted to kind of explore that a little bit. What is the hesitancy on your part in dating other cultures versus, and then I'm going to swing that over to Jody and say, what makes you open to dating other cultures? So Shima, you take that away first.
I think the biggest thing, and I think it's because of social change, recent social change. I'm not saying I didn't feel like this before, but it just reminds me of why I'm hesitant. It's because in my mind, okay, I know me and I know how I think. And there is not a racist bone in my body. But I can't honestly say that in those moments when the world is going awry and there inevitably may be the decision to choose a side, I don't know how I'm going to feel if I have to come home. And even if the world is not going awry, but if I have to come home and I need to express this feeling of what the Black woman's plight is, or what being Black is to someone who's not, I don't know how I'm going to feel if I can't get that understanding.
That's good.
That is good.
And that's good. Really honestly what it is, because I'm gonna choose preference of color, even if it's a different race. Do I want? I absolutely believe that Irish men, and I just say that because they have red hair and they are very sexy to me. So it's not attraction. It's not looks. I don't care what race you are. If you're not tall, I'm not interested. You all know that. That's on this show.
She's looking for a redhead. A tall redhead.
Tall redhead. Here we go.
I don't even care what the race is at that point. If you're tall, you might get a shot. But I don't, as open as I am, like I said, to do it, I am always thinking that in the back of my head. How is that home? And it may be different now. I have to say, disclaimer, it may be different now because I'm older and I'm not thinking about having children or raising children and what race of children I'm going to raise. Because even if I decide to adopt, and let's say I don't adopt a Black child, I'm still going to be concerned about whatever this race child is having me as a Black mom, and then possibly having this other person as another race for a dad, you know?
That's a valid concern. It's a valid concern. So before we go to you, Jody, we are going to go to a commercial break, have the wonderful disconnector come do her segment, and then we're going to come back. I want you to think about that, Jody, on the other side. What makes you open to dating other cultures? So here we go. We're going to go into this commercial break. We're going to come back with our very own Brandy, the disconnector, for our very special segment here, and then we will get back into our topic with our beautiful guest, Jody.
Hey, loves, it's Brandy the Disconnector here. Ignore the intro, I'll change it next week. Some of the stuff that I do here. But today's interesting thing that I want to show you is what is called a stream deck. So if you do live stream shows like we do, I like to be able to push buttons rather than have to click all over the place. And I decided to make a preemptive move and go ahead and get a stream deck because it works very, very well with Zoom meetings and Zoom webinars, and they are actually beginning to upgrade the platform that we use, StreamYard, in order to function with the Stream Deck. So eventually you'll be able to play videos, switch screens. You can already switch screens. So say you have multiple people on the screen, you can switch from the multi-view to bringing it all in to sharing the screen with a video by pushing the buttons on the Stream Deck that you set up. And it's all very easy to set up once you get it. The instructions are great. You go to the website and you download the little bit of software needed for it, and then you go ahead and follow the instructions, set up your buttons, set up your color screen, and you're good to go. So, of course, if you want to learn any more information about the Stream Deck, just go on YouTube and type in Stream Deck, stream, one word, space, deck, and see what pops up and watch some of those videos, because you'll probably see the same thing that I see and like, I need one of them. And it's actually, for what it does, it's not very expensive. I believe the one that I got was like, I want to say maybe about 400 or so. And they have another 15 button one, a smaller version. If you're not familiar with how it works, but you want to figure it out, you can order it on Amazon. If for some reason you have no idea what you're doing, it's like beyond your realm of technological abilities, send it back. You tried it, send it back, get your buddy back. It wasn't for you. That's all there is to it. So that's my bit for today. And next go around, you guys will get the new intro outro for Brandy the Disconnector. And until next time, y'all.
in. Get your Fem Talk merch.
Fem
And here
Talk
we go.
merch.
You are the
Hey,
beautiful.
so you were talking the whole time because ain't nobody hear you.
Oh no!
No.
Oh, that's
I
hilarious.
was like, that's a long picture of our tumblers. They pretty though. They real pretty.
They're good vibes.
I thought I was talking behind the scenes and everything. Oh well, here we go.
I was like, oh, she's
guys.
counting down.
Wow. Listen, everyone, get your Fem Talk merch. Hopefully you can hear me now. Get your Fem Talk merch. FemTalkMerch.com. Let's do
There you go. There you go.
There we go. There we go, everybody. FemTalkMerch.com. Get yours. So before we went to break, you guys, if you are just joining us, you joined us a little late. We are talking about why some Black women don't date Black men. And we were talking to Shima and about to talk to our beautiful guest, Jody, about the hesitancy or being open to dating other cultures. So before we left for the break, for that beautiful segment from our tech connector or disconnector now.
Hey, I still Tech Connect. I'm just a disconnector now.
The disconnector of Tech Connect. Okay, let's get that straight. Right. We were asking Jody what makes her open to dating other cultures. So Jody, let us know.
How did that
It wasn't a decision I made to say, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to look for someone of a different culture, different race to date. My story was that I went on a dating site and only a few of the Black men on there contacted me, but a whole bunch of white men messaged me. So I thought about it and I said, well, like what's stopping me? Like, why not? So I went out with one and then two, and then that's how it started. But there was I wasn't uneasy around them. There was no discomfort. I didn't feel uncomfortable. It was just a woman talking to a man. They were attractive to me. So I was like, oh, okay. This is something that, I could be interested in. I could see myself dating someone of a different race. And so that's how I started dating other races. But before this, I was not open to it. Like before this experience, I was not open to it at all. Like I only dated Black men. But when this was presented to me, that's what made me think, why not?
Well, I will say, being from Colorado Springs, Colorado, originally a highly diverse town, I specifically go after Black men. I've had Asian boyfriends, Hispanic boyfriends, white boyfriends, but the strongest man that had walked into my life was a Black man.
Yeah. So from both of you, coming from a woman who has not dated, I went on one date in my entire life with a person outside of my race. And it was just a date to the movies. It didn't go any further than that. So coming from, just coming from that perspective and asking the two of you, was there, and I know Jody just really mentioned being very open and saying, okay, it was just a woman talking to a man, which is amazing, right? That's great. But did you guys, and then Brandy, you're saying you were raised in an area where it was so diverse that it didn't really matter.
Right.
But is there anything that came up for the two of you that gave you pause at all?
Yeah. One of the boyfriend's family was extremely racist, and I didn't understand what the issue was because in my mind, I was like, people are people at that age. I didn't understand that there was so much systemic racism going on. And I didn't understand what racism even was at that point. I thought racism was just not like other people based on the color of their skin or their culture. Racism is the system upon which this entire country is built. And it is what it is. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is what it is. And it's our responsibility to properly identify it and stop calling somebody that doesn't like somebody that looks like me based on their culture. And the whole skin tone thing is baffling to me. Because there's actually a really good video by Trent. I believe his name's Trent Shelton. About the whole black-white construct just being a whole big old lie in the first place, and everybody's feeding into it, and they literally will kill each other over what they believe that is in itself a full and entire falsehood. But anyways, I always had an appreciation for other people's cultures, and as I got older, I realized that black culture has two extremes. We have the highly successful, push through anything, will whoop anybody's ass to get to where we're going side of things. And then we have the we'll just call it the ratchet side of things. Both of which are strongly tied to black culture as a whole. And some people outside of our culture can't tell that it's basically a culture and subculture within one. The subculture is just like so-called white folks that call other white folks white trash because they don't meet a certain standard as far as expectations as a member of your so-called race or culture.
But okay, so that goes back to something that I always say, right? Economic status matters, right?
Right.
Regardless of
it's not even economic status. I think it's just the ability to conduct oneself in a way that is pleasing to the majority of people that you'll be around.
That's part of it, but I think money plays a big part in that too.
I think it does and doesn't. I kind of agree more so with Brandy. I don't think it's money. I think it's how you now conduct yourself. In that culture, and it comes off as an economic status. Because so many times I've heard, when I know my parents we didn't have no money. Oh, you must be on the rich side of things because you speak a certain way. Because of my educational background. So I don't think it comes off as an economic status, but it really has nothing to do with economics. It's just that you are able, and I think I like how Brandy put it, the ratchet side. You can. Because what we'll learn is that can you blend in any kind of situation?
Right. Now, some situations I don't feel the need to blend into. And at one point in time, I used to feel bad about that. But now I'm like, I'm different and I'm okay with that. Because if I wanted to align myself with you, but I don't want what you got going on in your life, why would I?
But I think one of the things that that came out that Jody said was she was on a dating site. And she got more hits from white men than she did from black men. And I was just reading the article. It's interracial romance with black women as lead. It's a New York Times article. And it said in 2014 on OkCupid that African-American women were considered less desirable than and received significantly fewer matches than women of other races. So to Jody's point, this is something they found to be true. And then, so now with that thought process, and now you think now not even the black men are now tapping into this beautiful black woman. And they talk about how, if it's Issa Rae on Insecure, and even in her book, she mentions that she's challenging this notion that black women are not to be desired. That's why she's so intentional in putting the black women as lead and also having these interracial relationships and coming off as sexy and desirable to any man, black and white. Because she challenges both. She indicates, so she introduces it all so that she can say, no, we are desirable to anyone out there. So she's challenging that piece that Jody says she's literally experienced.
Society has changed that picture dramatically, right? So
and it's because of this, right? It's because of scandal.
Last week, and when you look at like models and what it was many years ago, right? You had I'm just going to start off with the Twiggies of the world, right? That's what was depicted as beautiful. And then it started to change. So even when you think about like our culture, like within our music and how the music videos changed, and initially there were black women clothed, but they were considered the cute, I guess, black women for the videos, right? And then that started to change and it started to go into a different culture. Now it's hard to see black women in a video, right? Depicted as beautiful and the sexy that's going to be in a video. So when you think about even pop culture, it started to change the view of what supposedly looks good. And then social media changed that view because you've got, all the social media models, and they're not typically, Black women that look like the average Black woman.
Right.
But I think that's the challenge. I think that's the challenge that's out there, like the Olivia Pope. I think she did a lot to look, this is a beautiful Black woman and the president of the United States wants her. And going to give up everything for her. That said a lot to a lot of men and women. And wow, I want an Olivia Pope, so they see Jodie's picture and say, hey, and I think that's I think those society change, those changes in how they see us is so important because they need to see that sexy, they need to see that beautiful, they need to see this, all of who we are, if we're strong, if however we come off. And I think that's the beauty in just embracing all of the stuff that culture has made us. Strong, sensitive, beautiful, but of different shades of brown, all of that.
But I still think that the men that, though they don't choose us all the time, the Black men find the attraction and the beauty. It's just the beyond step that they're not interested in, and that has more to do with the accountability, and she's going to require certain things of me, and she may not, like you said, be submissive. She may be too independent. I honestly, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. The men that I hear the most this comment about the fact that I travel the way I do and I'm always gone and I'm always on the on the plane or whatever. How can you? Oh, that's why you don't have a boyfriend, because you're always traveling, or that's why you don't have a man, because you're always traveling. Those
men to be on that plane with you.
Black men are
You said those men are who?
They're the Black men who said that to me. Now, the other races that I talk to, and this is just conversation, whether they want to date me or not, when they're talking to me, they are, oh, you want to see the world. Oh, you're enjoying your life. Like there's a different mindset. And it could be the fact that if they're not clouded by the fact that, well, I want to date her or I want to, get to know her. I just like the fact that she is trailblazing, or she's a jet setter or whatever. She just likes to go and she wants to see the world and experience other cultures. And it could just be the Black men that I interacted or that have been my interaction as of late. But they're the ones who are saying more, oh, well, that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, you're single because.
Is it
interesting? You're trying to climb a ladder that was never made for you, but you got a problem with a woman that wants to see the world. And if you went and saw the world, you might learn how to move in it in a way that you wouldn't be trying to climb somebody's ladder that was not made by you.
Come on, Sour Patch. But so true.
Sorry, Jody, I just interrupted you.
That's okay. But maybe some of those men feel insecure about how you move, how you go here and go there and do things, and they haven't been exposed to that, so they're not used to that. So they're like, oh, I can't see me dating her because she's always doing this and always doing this, and I haven't done anything.
Can't compete. Yeah, there's a feeling of I can't live up to can't live up to her expectation.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, and
make her feel bad for having them.
Right. But again, it comes back to culture. I remember the struggle I had, and not just from my husband, but when you grew up in the inner city and all you've seen is your square mile.
Right.
And that's all you've seen for 19 years of your life, 20 years of your life, 25 years of your life. Somebody that's going to Europe, that's foreign. And we've heard that before. So that expectation, and let's be honest, because of that fear of I can't meet her standard is real.
Right.
With someone else who,
it's okay to say that's not the man for me.
Also, that's not the woman for me.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
But I think that is the discussion, is finding, regardless of race. And I think that's what it comes down to. And that's why I think at the end, at the core of this conversation is what people have found is I found somebody for me. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, unfortunately, they're not of my race.
They weren't. Exactly.
Oh, that part doesn't matter.
That is what's at the core.
Take the glass on that one.
Right. And I don't have a problem with interracial relationships. I have a problem with interracial relationships that involve people that see the other member that's not of their own race as a token of some sort, as a trophy.
A trophy.
When you think that you've made it because you've acquired a white woman as a black man, or you think you've made it because you've acquired a white man as a black woman, you ain't gonna be happy with the outcome of that thinking in a relationship like that.
Yeah,
totally. You already got married, had kids, and most of them, you realize I effed up.
Yeah. If that's the reason. So listen, we have to wrap this up. So I wanted to get some last comments before we go. We are 3 minutes up to the hour. As always, you guys, as we say, this has been amazing, great conversation, and it's hard to stop when it gets so good. So last remarks, let's start with Jody. Last remarks on this whole topic. What advice would you give the women out there?
Just don't judge a man by his race. Just if you see a man and you think maybe you guys could start something or do, have something, even a friendship, just try it. Like what's the harm? If you're not attracted to the man, that's a different story. But just don't not date someone because of their race.
That's good. That's good. Anybody else want to give some last remarks before we end the show?
Pay attention to the red flags. If you're dating somebody outside your own race that you're like, nah, they're different, you better pay attention to your gut instinct, damn it. If y'all have a fight, they run to their family. As their family the first one saying, yeah, I told you she wasn't no good. You should find somebody that look like you. They just an extension of that.
I got to give her a clink on that one. The emphasis there. Come on, Brandy.
Well, I'll say that I think we live in a society where we are tapestry. Even in our own culture, we are tapestry. And I think to Jody's point, and she was find who loves you and you love them.
Yeah.
All of you and all of them, and whatever that person is, then that love, if that's real, to Brandy's point, if it ain't about a show and the love is real and the commitment to each other is real, then it will work. You will figure out a way to get over the racist parents or family or whoever else.
There will be no racist parents or family because you will cut ties to be with one another. So they figure out you're gonna respect who I'm with, or you ain't gonna see neither one of us.
That's right, and that goes on both ways. I've seen that happen on both sides. So it's not a white thing or black thing. It's the same thing. And we all got our biases, and we need to all check them at the door. But at the same time, find love and look for love, not and make sure they tall for Shima.
That's right. They don't even have to give ending remarks. That's right.
What about you, Shima? Quick closing remarks.
Just be open. I think that is probably the biggest mindset, the biggest piece of advice I can give to anybody, even to myself. I try to stay open, and I'm a person who's looking for love. So if it comes in a different form, I'm open to that. I really am, because I really want love and a lasting relationship more than I want the matching of my skin.
Yeah. All right. That's good. So clink on that. And we are going to end the show. This has been another FEM Talk episode. Meet us here again next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find us here on Facebook, on FEM Talk TV, or you can find us on E360 TV, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, Android TV, or the E360 app. Let's go, you guys. We will see you all next week. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Love you all out there.